Good morning, children. Nice to see you again. So far, that's Ingo, Maxon and Jensen, and Jean and Miller. I hope I've got another story that will interest you. Let's see how we get on. If you remember, we left Mole looking for worms on the beach. And that didn't go well, as he had to confess to Cormorant the following day. Cormorant was sitting on his rock with his wings spread out, trying to keep cool after a very high-calorie meal. And he said to Mole, as Mole came up, "How you doing, Mole?" And Mole said, "Starving." "What do you mean, starving? You went down to the beach there, you burrowed in the sand, and you found loads and loads of worms, surely." "Well," said Mole, "it didn't quite go according to plan. Firstly, there were the sandpipers. They kept attacking me, saying, 'Get off my worms.' Then when I did find a worm, I found that it tasted most awfully salty. And thirdly, there was sand in everything. I couldn't get the sand out the creases. Sand in my teeth, sand in my eyes, well, we don't want to go into the other places where sand got, but believe me, it was a sandy affair. As some people say, in Porpoisand. Now then, poor old Mole was so hungry he could hardly put one paw in front of the other. But Cormorant had an idea. Cormorant said, I'll drop you in the car park, and there you'll find some earth where you can burrow, and there'll be no salt or sand." "What a good idea," said Mole. And Cormorant grabbed him gently in his huge claws and took him off and plonked him on the edge of the car park. And Mole thought, "Soft, fresh earth round the edges where the cars don't go. I'll soon find something to eat." So he went burrowing. Anyway, half an hour went by, and he stood on the sand dune watching the cormorant. And when Cormorant turned round, he waved, "Help, help, help, help." And Cormorant came over and said, "What's the problem now?" "Oh," said Mole, "I don't know what it is," he said, "but I can't eat them. There's no worms, and those that I can find I can't eat. They taste of some horrible oily substance." And with that, an old Volkswagen bus hammered by. Chunk, 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 bang, bang. Probably leaking oil everywhere, and the oil had run out and elutriated into the sides, and there was no life at all to be found, and Mole was still starving hungry. "Well," said Mole, "I'm going to have to struggle." "Don't worry," said Cormorant. "I will drop you in the next field. There you'll be all right." And he picked him up, flop, 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 with his big wings and his tender claws. And he dropped Mole in the middle of a field where there were lots of sheep. And Mole thought, this might be problematic too, but I can't trouble Cormorant again. So he said, "Okay, thanks, bye." And off Cormorant flew. And Mole sat in the middle of this field of sheep. Now, the problem is, Mole knew. Mole knew that he had enemies, just as Cormorant has enemies. In that sense, Cormorants and Mole have a lot in common. Cormorants are universally hated by fishermen. And I don't mean the sort of fishermen, well, they might be hated by anglers too, I don't know. But certainly fishermen who go out in small boats looking for fish hate cormorants, because cormorants eat a pound of fish a day. Okay, that's not so bad. That's only about 18 kilograms a year, which isn't so bad. Actually, it's not, is it? It's about 180 kilograms a year, which is not so bad, excepting cormorants actually always collect in herds of between 25 and 100. So if you've got 100 cormorants eating that much, that is an enormous, that's 18 tons of fish a year they take, which would be a very good fat catch for an inshore fisherman. So you see, cormorants aren't terribly popular with fishermen and the fishing industry, and they tend to kill them. They shoot them. If they get a chance, nobody's looking, they shoot cormorants, no problem. Second thing is, and this they share with moles, moles like to burrow underground, and they do a lot of good work loosening up the soil, and they shove up what they've burrowed into the surface and make molehills. And that's where the farmers get their knickers in a twist, because farmers say that sheep become ill from eating around the molehills. And so farmers set traps for moles, and they're not very kind traps either. So there was Mole in the middle of this sheep field, and he knew the awful truth. There were probably going to be traps everywhere. He had to burrow underground. He couldn't see anything. He didn't need to see anything. All he could do was rely on his sharp sense of smell to be able to track down where the traps were. Because he also knew farmers hate moles. Farmers set traps. The traps aren't terribly effective. What is effective? We'll go into another time. And now I'm going to stop and go back and try and illustrate this story for you with a few little snippets of things that you might find interesting. One of the things you need to do is to go online on YouTube and look for some videos of cormorants and gannets fishing, because they are stunning. Unfortunately, I can't embed them into this video because that would be illegal. But I'm allowed to advertise them, and you are allowed to go onto YouTube and look for stunning videos of cormorants and gannets fishing. Second thing is, I'll find some nice pictures to encourage you. That's been great fun again. Thank you for watching, kids. I'll go now because my 6 minutes is well and truly up, and look forward to seeing you next time. Mind how you go, don't do anything silly, and listen to what your mum says.